Hello friends, you can log on to primeaptacademy.com to access complete free video courses. So this is the 42nd question of the algebra chapter. So question says that a and b are two numbers such that absolute value of a plus b is less than absolute value of a plus absolute value of b, and a square times b is less than 0, which of the following statements is true. So if you look at this first statement, that absolute value of a plus b is less than absolute value of a plus absolute value of b. When will this be true? This can only be true when one of them is positive and one is negative. If one of them is positive and one is negative, or one is positive or 0 and the other one is negative. So one has to be positive, other one has to be negative. If you take both of them positive, this will not work. Because if both of them positive, then absolute value of a plus b should be equal to absolute value of a plus absolute value of b. Also, if you take both of them negative, then also it won't work. Because in that case also, rather than less than, it should be equal to. So if both are positive, both are negative, this should not be less than, this will be equal to. This is less than only in the case when one of them is negative, other one is positive or 0. Positive or 0. So one is negative, other is positive or 0. Now, over here from the second inequality, a square times b is less than 0. So that means none of them is 0 for sure, first of all, because I am getting a negative number as the result. A square, if it is not 0, a square has to be positive. So it has to be positive a square. That means b has to be negative. So from here I conclude that b is negative. So if b is negative, that means a over here has to be either positive or 0. So either a is positive or 0. So what we have concluded is this aspect, that a is positive or 0 and b is negative. Now we will look at the statements. A is greater than b. Yes, b is negative, a is either 0 or positive. Statement 1 is correct. Absolute value of a is greater than absolute value of b. We don't know. A is positive or 0, b is negative. A can be 1 and b can be minus 5. Then absolute value of b will become bigger than that of a. Or a can be 5, b is minus 1. In that case, absolute value of a will become bigger than absolute value of b. So second, we don't know. So it is ruled out. Finally, a cube into b square. A is either positive or 0. It can also be 0, keep in mind. If it is 0, then this expression becomes equal to 0 and not greater than 0. So if a is positive and b is negative, then this is greater than 0. Okay, but one more thing we have concluded, that a cannot be 0 here also from this expression, sorry. So we have also concluded that because a square times b is less than 0. So from the first one we were getting a is to be positive or 0, but here we have concluded a is not 0. That means this 0 is also ruled out. That means a is positive. A is positive and b is negative for sure. So if a is positive and b is negative, this a cube times b square will always be greater than 0. So this is also correct, because this is positive cube and this is negative square. So if positive cube is positive, negative square is also positive. So this becomes positive times positive, which will be greater than 0. So statements 1 and statement 3 are correct here. Alright.